When was breaking the law the right thing to do? I came home after 14 months to a 6-year-old who'd learned to say my name like a question. Every day I wore a monitor on my ankle. 90 feet of freedom. Ren didn't understand why I couldn't walk her down to the corner. "Just once, Daddy," she'd say, pointing at the crossing guard. I'd stand at the front window and watch my mother walk her instead. I want to be clear about something. I was convicted. Wrongly, but convicted. A robbery I wasn't at. A witness who was certain and wrong. An alibi my public defender never called. That's a different story. What matters here is that half our street brought casseroles when I came home, and the other half stopped letting their kids play in our yard. Ren got it worst. A kid told her dad was a criminal. She came home and asked me if that was my job now. I remember the exact day. A Thursday in February, ice on everything, school closed. Ren was upset because I couldn't take her sledding on the hill behind the houses. I was on my knees hugging her when I heard it, this deep crack, like a tree splitting, and then a sound I'd never heard before. Across the street, the storm drain at the bottom of Halsey had backed up all week, and the city hadn't come. The retention basin behind the Marchetti place had frozen over on top, thin and gray, and 3 neighborhood kids had gone out on it. I got to the window in time to see it go. 2 of them scrambled back and made the bank. The third, a boy, maybe 8, in a red coat, went straight through and came up thrashing in a hole he couldn't get out of. My hand was on the door. The pre-alert on the monitor started its warning tone the second I crossed the threshold. 30 seconds to get back inside. I stepped back in and slammed the door. My hands were shaking so hard I dropped my phone twice dialing. "There's a kid in the retention pond off Halsey. He's through the ice. He's going under. Sir, is anyone with him?" I looked. The 2 other kids were running the wrong way, screaming, up toward the houses. Nobody was outside. Nobody. Everyone was at work, and the ones who weren't couldn't hear anything through storm windows. Nobody. There's nobody. Nearest unit is 7 minutes. 7 minutes. In water that cold, a kid has maybe 2 before he can't hold on to anything. "Sir, can you assist? I'm on house arrest," I said. "If I leave my property, I go back inside." And I heard myself say it. I heard how it sounded. I looked over at Ren, who had her hands over her ears behind the couch. If that was her. If my daughter was in that water and a man was standing at a window doing the math on his own sentence. I ran. The monitor started shrieking the second I hit the sidewalk. I grabbed the extension ladder off the side of the garage because that's what you use. You spread the weight. You don't walk out there. I got flat on it and pushed out across the ice on my stomach, and I got a hand in the collar of that red coat about 40 feet from the bank. He was past kicking. He wasn't making noise anymore, which is the part that still wakes me up. I got him up onto the ladder and dragged us both back. My mother had come out by then with every blanket in the house, and I got him inside our living room and stripped the wet coat off him, and my mother put him against her chest, and Ren, 6 years old, sat there and held his hand and told him he was okay. The ambulance came. He was hypothermic, and he was breathing, and he is fine now. 2 sheriff's deputies arrived at the same time as the ambulance, because a monitor alert dispatches its own response. They let me finish. I'll always be grateful for that. Then they cuffed me on my own front step in front of my daughter, and I told her not to look, and she looked anyway. Violation hearing was 9 days later. The boy's mother came. Nobody asked her to. She stood up when the judge asked if anyone wished to be heard, and she said her son is 8 years old, and that 7 minutes is longer than the water gives you, and that one man on that street knew what it would cost him and went anyway. Then she said, he has a little girl. He knew he might not see her for a year, and he went out on that ice. The judge was quiet for a while. Then he said something I've thought about every day since, that we build laws so we don't have to depend on the character of strangers, but that the laws only exist because of people who'd have done right without them. Time served. 9 days. He also ordered my case file forwarded to the county's conviction integrity unit. That's still moving. It's slow. The boy's name is Dez. He's 10 now. He's in my kitchen most days after school, eating everything I own, arguing with Ren about a video game I don't understand. I still have 4 years of paper left. I've never once wished I'd stayed at that window.